everyone, welcome to the Big West Academic Honors. I'm your host, Courtney Sweet, and we are here on the campus of Long Beach State University to honor some exceptional student athletes who are getting it done on the field, in the classroom, and in their communities. Now, it's been a year of transition, and that starts at the top. I'm so excited to be joined today by our new Big West Commissioner, Mr. Dan Butterly. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Courtney. Great to be here today.
So happy that you're joining us. It's beautiful weather, huh?
Another beautiful day in the Big West Conference.
So we're here to honor Big West student athletes. In your opinion, what sets them apart? What makes them exceptional?
These nominees, these honorees are true scholar athletes. Each of our member institutions nominated a female and a male scholar athlete. They're majoring in neurobiology, economics, engineering, creative writing. I mean, it's such a diverse group of scholar athletes. They average a 3.7 GPA. All at the same time, they're performing at the highest level of NCAA Division I athletics.
Great job getting that all out. I would have messed that up. When you talk about the GPA, clearly it's high, but they're also getting it done on the field, in the court, in the pool.
These scholar athletes are all Americans. They're all conference. They are national champions. They represent the Big West. They represent the best of what is about NCAA Division I athletics.
And academics clearly is an important part of the Big West. Did that help draw you here to see what the student athletes, what their focus is?
Absolutely. One of the biggest things you can accomplish is getting your degree, getting that diploma. Once you have that diploma, it can never be taken away from you. So getting a diploma from a Big West institution, as high of academic profile as these institutions are, is a tremendous honor and a tremendous life goal.
Well, Commissioner, thank you so much for taking the time to do a little walk and talk.
Absolutely.
But you're not going to go anywhere. We're going to see you at the end of the show, okay?
That is great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Commissioner.
Thank you, Courtney.
All right, well, we have 2.4 million Big West alumni globally. But coming up, we're going to take a look at one who's getting it done 220 miles above the earth. Former Cal Poly student athlete Victor Glover Jr. is currently the pilot on the SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft Resilience. Earlier this year, Glover completed his first spacewalk to upgrade technology on the International Space Station. When we come back, we'll honor this year's Big West Female Scholar Athletes of the Year and catch up with one who is leading the way in the pool and in the classroom. The 2019-2020 season was cut short before last year's female scholar athletes could be recognized. Here are last year's honorees. Next up, we take a look at 11 women who are all conference, all American, and all everything in the classroom. Here's a look at the Big West Female Scholar Athletes of the Year. We start with Cal Poly's two-time All-American and 2019 Big West Player of the Year, Tia Merrick. Tia has a 3.7 GPA in Business Administration and a minor in Statistics, and she hopes to represent her native Canada in the Olympics. CSU Bakersfield's Andy Easley has a bachelor's in exercise science and a 3.96 GPA as a grad student in healthcare administration. She's the Roadrunners' top three-point shooter and wants to work in the medical profession when her basketball career ends. Cal State Fullerton's Haley Brown was a second-team All-Big West player. She also scored the game winner to give the Titans a Big West title. Haley has a 3.98 GPA in child and adolescent development with a minor in literacy education. CSUN's Brandy Williams is a two-time Big West Conference champion and school record holder in the shot put. Brandy has a psychology degree from CSUN and a 3.7 GPA as a graduate student in marriage and family therapy. Petra Milonova is a three-time Big West Player of the Year, a two-time Student Athlete of the Year, and the first Hawaii player to ever advance to the round of 16 at the NCAA tournament. She also has a 3.68 GPA in electrical engineering. Long Beach State's Lana Kotanchien is a graduate student in economics with a 4.0 GPA. She was a member of the junior national team in her native Russia, and she earned honorable mention All-American honors last year with 54 goals. Elise Rojas led the nation last year with 50 hits and a school record .485 batting average for UC Davis. She's a two-time All-Big West performer with a 3.5 GPA in human development, and she plans to become a registered nurse. UC Irvine's Tara Apprentice led the Anteaters to a Big West regular season title in 2019 with 70 goals. She's a three-time All-American and was nominated for the NCAA Woman of the Year award. She has a 3.9 GPA as a grad student in innovation and entrepreneurship. Like Tara Apprentice, UC Riverside's Lindsay Galinas also hails from Temecula, California. She has a 4.0 in creative writing and was named Team MVP. Lindsay has been the Highlanders' #1 player since her freshman year. Kira Franke was named UC San Diego's Athlete of the Year and also earned All-American honors, posting a team-high 38 goals for the Tritons. Meanwhile, she also holds a 3.69 GPA in Human Development Sciences. Sammy Fabian is an all-conference left fielder and the Gauchos' top hitter for the last 3 seasons. She adds a 3.5 GPA in psychology to a personal best 404 batting average, and she's well on her way to her goal of becoming a registered nurse. Congratulations to these 11 honorees for their accomplishments on the field and in the classroom. Next up, we highlight UC Irvine's Tara Apprentice. She's a water polo star and an Olympic hopeful, and she has her sights set on a career in law. Here's more. Tara, let's just start right at the beginning. What was it about UC Irvine that drew you to the school?
Oh my goodness, where to even begin? So many things. The coaching staff alone, I was fortunate that I met one of the coaches during my time in high school, and just his energy and his positivity. He cared about me as a human being, not just an athlete, which was a big thing for me. Just going into college athletics, it can be really overwhelming at the start. And I just knew as soon as I met the coaches and then also met the girls, and a big part of this too is the academics. I've always wanted to do criminology, which UCI has a great program. And just with all those things added up together, I knew I was going to grow the most as a human being and be a great daughter, a great friend, a great athlete. And I just knew I would have a lot of opportunities to grow, which I'm always looking to do.
What are your future goals?
So I'm fortunate that this last year I've actually been training with the U.S. national team. It's always been a goal of mine since like high school, I would say. And with this, it's like you're just pushing yourself every single day. And I've realized like the importance of not only connection in the water, but also outside the water. And so if everything goes according to plan, I would love to like go play abroad in the future and try and make any national team trips I could with world championships and Olympics. I just want to see how far I can go with the water polo. And then ultimately, I also want to go to law school.
It's a shame you don't have goals. It really is. I know that you're still there, and I'm not trying to rush you towards those goals, although they sound very awesome. But when you kind of stop right now and you look at your time at UCI, and yes, there's still more. What do you think your biggest takeaways are at the moment, and what do you think they might be?
I think I've just, especially with the COVID pandemic, the biggest thing I've realized is the importance of showing care to one another and not always knowing where people are in their lives, as well as just knowing that there may be differences, but it's always important to find the similarities, whether it's in the pool or outside the pool. I think, especially with that psychology major too, I just realized like the importance of showing love, showing care, and just being there for one another. And that's definitely the biggest takeaway I've had. Just any opportunity I can, I want to give all I can to help someone else be the best version of themselves.
I love that. I absolutely love hearing you take care of yourself, because this year has been very different. And to hear that, I think it's important. Finally, for little girls out there, because we have more female representation, more athletes and academics, for little girls out there who they want to do both and they don't want to have restrictions on themselves and they don't want to be put in a box and they want to be able to excel in the pool, on the court, and in the classroom, what would you say to them as they're coming up and they have goals? What would your advice be?
That's a great question. I think with that, a main thing I've always learned is the importance of courage, that you can always have confidence in what you do, but you also have to have the courage to act upon that confidence. So whether that's, going 100% into that test or going 100% into whatever athletic sport you do, I just think you always have to have the courage to make mistakes, to try and be the best you can be, and also just be so receptive to learning. Just know that it's an up and down journey, but when it's the up, it's as best as it can be. And sometimes the down moments seem bad in the moment, but it just reminds you like how great the up moments are.
Is there anything else you want to share about UCI, your coaches, your teammates, anything you want to share before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone so much for selecting me for this. It's such an honor. Any opportunity I get to speak about UCI and just the Big West Conference, it's an easy choice for me. I just think the combination of athletics and academics, you all really set us up for the future, not only as athletes, but as human beings, which I'm just so appreciative of. And Zot, I have to throw in the UCI, Zot.
Of course you do. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. You set the bar very high, and I look forward to watching you the next 10 years since they're planned out. We'll look for you at the Olympics, and I hope I never need a lawyer, but if I do, I'll let you know.
Yes, I'll be here. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Congratulations on this honor. Thanks for the time. The Big West has more than 100 Olympians, including UC Riverside alum Brenda Martinez. Brenda represented the U.S. in the 1,500 meters in 2016, and now she gives back by hosting a running camp for girls focused on performance and mental well-being. Next up, the Big West Male Scholar Athletes of the Year take center stage when the Big West Academic Honors continues. The 2019-2020 season was cut short before last year's male scholar athletes could be recognized. So here are last year's honorees. From a catcher from Mission Viejo to a forward from Mali, these athletes represent 7 Big West men's sports. Here are your Big West Men's Scholar Athletes of the Year. Cal Poly's John Bennett earned Big West Freshman of the Year honors in cross country and scored in 2 events at the Big West Championship meet as a true freshman. He holds a 3.96 GPA in mechanical engineering. Noah Cordova of CSU Bakersfield is as comfortable on the mound as he is in the great outdoors. He has a perfect 4.0 GPA in environmental resource management, and he wants to pursue a career as a game warden in his native Arizona. Clayton Torr helped Cal State Fullerton to a school record 8-0 start and a number 12 national ranking in his first season with the Titans. Clayton has a 3.7 GPA in kinesiology, and he would like to play professionally. Sean Skelly of CSUN led the Matadors in on-base percentage, walks, and home runs a year ago. Having earned a political science degree already, he is now a grad student in public administration with a 3.67 GPA. Hawaii's Colton Cal is a walk-on who became an All-American, a finalist for the Karch Karai Award, and a leading scorer on the U.S. team at the Pan Am Games. He also has a perfect 4.0 GPA as a grad student in economics. Ferris John Babineau from Long Beach State is likely our fastest honoree. Ferris ran a personal best 48.08 in the 400 meters at last year's Big West Conference Championships. He also has a 3.8 GPA with a double major in criminology and philosophy. Ryman Crone of UC Davis is the Aggies team captain and an all-conference performer as well. Ryman also competes in steeplechase and has a 3.5 GPA in neurobiology. Before heading on to medical school, he'd like to join the Peace Corps. UC Irvine's Scott Static led the nation in blocking a year ago, earning him All-Conference and All-American honors. He's second all-time in school history career solo blocks with 94. Scott has a 3.2 GPA as a grad student in finance. Gilbert Chung holds the all-time singles record at UC Riverside and earned all-conference honors as the Highlanders' #1 player. He earned a BA in business economics and now holds a 3.82 GPA as a grad student in finance. UC San Diego middle blocker Gabe Avilion helped the Tritons to a school best #6 ranking a year ago. He is also the president of the Tritons Athletic Council and has a 3.53 GPA in biochemistry. UCSB's Amadou Sow is a two-time All-Big West performer. He's led the team in blocks and rebounds in each of the last 3 seasons, and he has a 3.3 GPA in global studies. Amadou is interested in working as a human rights advocate. Congratulations to these 11 honorees for their accomplishments on the field and in the classroom. Next, we catch up with Colton Cal. Now, he came to the University of Hawaii as a 140-pound libero. Since then, he's transformed his game and his body to become one of the best players in the nation. And he's a pretty fair student as well. Here's more with Colton. What do you think is the key for you to be able to be successful on the court and also in the classroom? 4.0 grad student economics, like how are you able to do both?
I honestly try not to put too much pressure on myself. And I've kind of just taken the responsibility of valuing integrity, that when I do say that I'm going to accomplish something, when I set out to accomplish something, I want to follow through with it. And I think for me, it's just a personal level of integrity. And it's not pressure. I don't obviously punish myself if I miss a deadline here or there, but I always try to produce work on time. I try to be an active communicator to my professors, especially when we go on road trips and whatnot. And fortunately, this year, I actually get to attend most of our courses, given the fact that they're online, even when we are on road trips. So for me, it's just mostly just being proactive with balancing my time and just kind of enjoying building a relationship with the professors so that they know that I'm not just sitting there and it's in one year out the other, that I'm actually actively learning and enjoying the material that's presented.
As somebody who is a communications major and I talk for a living, why economics? I'm so curious. What drew you to that major?
My mom and my older sister both got their masters in psychology. So initially I was a psychology major. I was just like, that's just what I'll do. It seems natural to me. My mom's always talking about like those, I guess, just terms and my feelings and this and that and stuff. Right. But then after taking a few courses, I didn't feel inspired to learn. And I knew that with the difficulty of balancing academics as a student athlete, I would like to study something that sparks my interest. And I took just an introductory microeconomics course, and I had a great professor. He really brought kind of passion towards the subject. And it is a little bit of a dry subject. There is some very, very dry material. But at the end of the day, I just saw how broad the field of economics is and how relative it can be. And I've always had an interest in renewable energy and climate change. And the climate economics are very, very prevalent to what is occurring today. And so that's kind of been where I've taken my focus as a grad student.
I love that you can have a coach that pushes you in a certain way, but you can also have a teacher who opens up your mind to something like you were saying. I took a class, didn't know I'd like it, and now you're majoring in it. So yeah. That's fantastic. Clearly, Colton, you're driven. I mean, walk on, hey, and then now you're one of the best in the nation, and 4.0 GPA, and I know you're gonna be modest, but like that, those are a lot of accomplishments. What would you say to young kids that wanna do maybe what you're doing?
Focus on variables and factors that you can control and practice them and turn them into your strengths. Develop your strengths, hone your strengths, and focus on just what's in front of you. And always have, for me, I always try to have a 5-year plan, a long way away. But at the end of the day, if I kind of chip away at it every day, I know that no matter what, I'll either end up there or all of that kind of cumulative process will take me further than what I had originally imagined.
Is there anything else that you want to share with us before we go about your experience, your coaches, your teammates, the University of Hawaii, Big West?
Yeah, I'd love to just say thank you. Thank you to the people that helped me get here. I think that in everyone's life, they always receive certain accolades. There's always going to be a certain individual interest in receiving some accolade that reaffirms the journey that they're on. And for me, what I came to notice is that the more awards and the more accolades that I did in fact receive, I found myself wanting to, more than anything, just thank those people, especially just certain individuals that are on our coaching staff, training staff, strength and conditioning staff, athletic department. The list goes on, especially those also in Maui that really sparked my interest in the sport and helped me take my game to another level early on. And I think that was just really important, was the fact that it's always important to practice humility and just be grateful, because it's never a journey that you embark on alone. There's always going to be people along the way that help you and are there to support you, especially when you go through your toughest lows.
This year, 4 Big West players were selected in the MLS Super Draft. CSUN's Daniel Trejo, the Matadors 2019 Male Student Athlete of the Year, was taken 14th overall by LAFC, and he immediately earned at least one famous fan. Watch this.
Hello, Danny. From one Danny Trejo to another. Let's see what you got, Holmes. Congrats on being selected in the MLS Super Draft. Welcome to the Black and Gold. And hey, now all my fans have just become your fans. Danny Trejo's cool.
The Big West Spring 2020 All-Academic Team included a record 634 student athletes, obliterating the old mark of 456 set in 2018.
The Big West produces champions on the field and in life, and that's the focus of our next story. Ruby Flores went from throwing a perfect game right here in Long Beach to a commander role at the LAPD.
So my role as the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer is one that's evolving, by the day, really, in terms of how quickly law enforcement needs to progress. Some of the calls to action for police reform. Many are calling on law enforcement agencies to really look at themselves and understand what the community needs. So that's the big part of my job, is not only to understand what our organization looks like in terms of diversity, inclusiveness, but also in terms of racial equity and social equity, and how we communicate, how we work with, and how we police our communities. We're a very, very diverse city and diverse police department, but diverse doesn't always equate to having a just or equal system. And so I believe that my experience with sports and doing things as a team to succeed and create change are things that I can translate within the department in relation to inclusiveness. I think back to when I was a freshman, I didn't think that I'd be where I'm at now, and I didn't think or understand how being a student athlete every day and working hard and understanding the challenges would then lend itself to helping me succeed in using those coping skills and those management skills in my job every single day, but in a different uniform. I take pride in wearing that Long Beach State uniform, representing the school, representing the softball team. And now I get to do that, but in a different uniform. And my goal is to represent and show the community that the Los Angeles Police Department is one of the best agencies in the world, because we have people that care, that do want to make a difference in their communities. And we work hard, and we're very proud to do that. So here's my plug for my athletes out there, especially women. This is such a gratifying job and such a good place to be in, and especially to lead this department. One of the highest ranking women in our department of almost 10,000 people is something I never imagined or thought I would be able to do. But it was softball and my education at Long Beach State that created this path for me to be able to do so. So you freshmen, you didn't get that far just to come that far. So there's a lot more to go. And I find myself saying that to myself even now. So as a police commander, even now, I say I didn't get this far just to get this far. I still have more work to do. So much I want to do for the community, for women, for the advancement and equal representation, so that we can move our organization further and so that we can make a difference in the community. I mean, there is a call to action for us to change and to adjust the way we do police work. So in that regard, it's, my work is not done. And I would say that for you student athletes, just because you made it, you have your scholarship, it's time for you now really to start working. And then when you graduate again, it continues. So it's never too soon to start building your legacy. And I think it starts every single day that you come to work, every single day that you show up to practice, every day that you're in your class.
On a side note, Ruby Flores was an All Big West Academic Scholar of the Year in 1992. Well, as promised, the commissioner is back. Thanks for joining us again.
Great to be back, Courtney.
And Commissioner, I understand that this is just the tip of the academic iceberg in the Big West.
These are tremendous scholar athletes. I mean, to be able to be eligible, you have to participate in 50% of your competitions and maintain a 3.0 GPA. We had a record number of academic all Big West scholar athletes last year.
It's really impressive what they're able to do. Where do they find the time to do all of this?
I wish I knew. I mean, to be between practices and games and training and all the things that they've got to do to stay healthy and academically fit, it's a tremendous honor.
Well, I can tell that you're really proud of them. The whole conference is. So congratulations again to all 22 honorees. Well, that's going to do it for the Big West Honors Show. Thank you so much for joining us. And for all your Big West information, check out bigwest.org. I'm your host, Courtney Sweet. We'll see you next time.